We are back Sunday, November 6th. I am Ronnie of the Limitless Channel, and I'm joined by Jason from the Awake Souls YouTube, and we are on Beyond Flat Earth. How are you doing, brother? Good evening.
I'm doing great. Happy 6/11 to you, brother. Just a few days away from 9/11 and from an 11/11. So this November is one that, we've had on our radar for a while, and so far, nothing big to report. But we've got something interesting to talk about tonight still, even in the absence of big world headlines, right?
And I am muted. So yeah, we are live tonight. It's Sunday, November 6th. And I had it muted because I didn't want any background noise. But thank you guys for tuning in. Tonight we're going through part 1, hydrogen as fuel. Jason's got a presentation prepared for us. I'm really looking forward to it. So how are you feeling? What are your key thoughts tonight moving forward? What do you kind of want to start off with?
I guess, how many years ago was it that we got into the free energy topic? It's quite a few years ago. I mean, it was the jet fuel hoax. It was hydrogen, right? We're opening people up to what the real potential of hydrogen was. And so we got on a kick about it. I started building a flywheel generator, and it stalled out because nobody seemed to care about it. So this go around, it's going to be a little bit different because I don't know, I'm just in the need of having a project, something to keep my attention centered and focused on that can be a hobby for me and a constructive outlet. I'm just a tinkering type of guy that I want to build something, and I want to innovate. I want to create new designs and come up with just never thought of before ideas. So this whole HHO, right? So hydrogen turns out it's the most abundant substance in what they call the universe. So all thing known to mankind, right? Most abundant thing. And yeah, there's so many properties about it as we go through it tonight. And we're gonna get upset. We're gonna be frustrated that we have the stupid technologies that we have right now, because it's abundantly clear that they had this technology back in the late 1800s. Right? They knew about it then, and so they're starting to reveal this hydrogen technology more and more. Um, Even myself, over the last year, I would say that it was just in the last year that I truly came into understanding what a hydrogen fuel cell is and how it works. And back before that, I had envisioned hydrogen being combusted with flames and stuff like that. So there's no need for that, not if you want to make electricity. And so what we want to do is we really want to just open people's minds to the true potential that lies within hydrogen. And it's going to become obvious that it's the best choice overall in every which way, shape, and form. As far as being, it's the densest energy form that we can use. Now, we don't need to use liquid hydrogen. There's a lot safer forms that we can use a hydrogen as. So it this really should be a key thing around everything that we do, because right now we're using chemical batteries like lithium ion and alkaline batteries, these types of things where there's a chemical reaction taking place with an anode, a cathode, and we're getting electricity out of that. We can get it out, we can store it, and the same is true with hydrogen, except we can do it even denser, right? So more lightweight ways of transporting high amounts of energy. So what we want to do is just really expand people's minds to the potential of hydrogen, make sure that everybody is aware of key features about it. And what we want to do is start working together collectively to come up with brand new ways of powering things, right? And storing energy. And we want to do it in the smartest way possible. So we're looking at making a new YouTube channel that is going to be hydrogen specific. And so that channel will be used for builds. We're going to actually be coming up with designs, making builds, going through all the reasons why we chose this part over that part, economically and supply chain wise, and all these types of things, and do it real open and public as a creative group working together, where none of these designs are going to be for patent. They're all going to be freely shared. We're going to help open source all the materials, thus bringing in the best prices possible for everyone, because we can't make one of these for everybody. So everybody out there needs to be able to make their own. So our goal is to be able to disconnect from the grid, from the electrical power company here, and be totally self-sufficient, and do it as economically and long-term thinking. How well is this going to support us in all different types of situations, and come up with a whole bunch of designs, right? So that right there is something that'll help me stay inspired working on something. And I would like to collaborate with people out there, other people that have designs and ideas and know-how on this topic, because we're going to admit, going all through this whole process, that we're sort of newcomers to the topic, but we're good students. And so once we learn something, it's learned, right? And then we can apply it, and we can use that technique along with others, and just keep incrementally getting better and better and better. So that's the whole process going forward here. So it's not, tonight's a Sunday night, which would normally be a spiritual night, but here we are talking about hydrogen. And so I sort of feel like this sort of needs its own brand. and we'll try to drive people to the hydrogen stuff, because
Hmm.
for one, I think people, here we are, where we keep waiting for the Great Tribulation to begin, waiting, and so with the cost of energy skyrocketing, an investment in having your own power supply where you can now be independent of the grid, I feel strategically this is our number one move against the New World Order, is to be able to create for ourselves our own energy independence. And I feel that this right here could be a move that, as the awakening to the potential that's out there, right within the grasp of the average person that has an income, that you could actually work towards having your own energy device that produces the energy that you need. Um, I think that that type of move right there could be the type of move that would be a backbreaker from the New World Order, because now all of a sudden people become independent of having to be hooked up to the grid. So I know I've gone on and on, brother.
Yeah.
You tell me about how this topic is important to you.
Well, it's not only unplugging from the grid. It's using everything that we need power with. So it's the vehicles, the tools, everything, our houses. It's not just a one-shop thing. It's finding a universal way that we can adapt everything that we need. Chainsaws, lawnmowers, gardening tools, all these types of things have to be perpetually made free energy-wise. We need to come up with ways where we can get rid of cords and things like this. We're going to continue to try the 0 point creation of the energy, or the reaction that actually creates the energy the best, is what we want to try to find, in the best way to store it. And like you had said, it looks like ammonia seems to be leading the way with the storage part, which, they're already taking advantage of. The government and the rich elite people of the realm, they're just not letting the regular people use it. They don't want you to unplug from the grid, and they don't want you to not have to go to the gas station. Listen, it's been 100 years. They had better electric vehicles 100 years ago than they do today. They didn't blow up when they got wet. Right, so I'm looking forward to the topic. I don't want to over talk here. I'm going to do my best to try to make sure that everything's sized correctly on the screen, and I'm just looking forward to learning. I'm addicted to learning. I'm a curious person, and energy is something that I've always wanted to understand more, how to create it, and what's being kept from us. Because the last thing I'll say on my rant here was that anybody that follows like Tesla or Bob Lazar and all these other characters, you're going to find that they've really done a really good job hiding anything that was actually useful. And all you're going to find is nonsense experiments and people doing things that'll lead you nowhere. You don't actually have people who are creating power from their own devices. And that's what we want to do, and that's what we aim here. So let me know, brother, when you want to transition over to the screen share, and I'll get us set up.
Yeah, sure. Somehow those names that you mentioned just keep popping up over and over and over. Well, as we go through all this stuff, we're going to hear all about Elon. We're going to hear all about Tesla, all those characters. We're going to get a whole bunch of really bad explanations for something that we witness. All right. So that's one of the things that I just want to help preparing people's minds for this content that we're going to be going through on this topic, because this is going to be a topic that is going to be more academic, right? And excuse the word, because academic means unimportant, right? But yeah, so it's going to just be more, learning different topics. And now, so we didn't go to college. We don't have a Freemason degree in these topics, but what we can apply is common sense. So we're going to be going through a whole bunch of different metals and chemical compounds, where it's going to be the CO2 and all these different letter combinations of elements. And so one of the things I got to say up front is that you have to learn a way to not be hung up on that stuff, saying that you don't understand it, right? You don't comprehend it. This is above your knowledge. This is above your pay grade. Because in each one of these things, we're going to always bring it back to a practical. You can take this metal, all right? You can buy it on Amazon, buy this metal here. You can buy this metal. There's the link on Amazon, right? You can take these two metals together, apply hydrogen to it with a membrane between it, and produce electricity. So there's going to be a practical side that's always witnessable, observable, measurable, that you know,
Logical.
it's a recipe. It's like cooking food.
Or a mix.
This element.
Or a DJ mix. Same
Some
thing.
of these things, you got to spin them up, you got to heat them. Some of them need to be under a vacuum. Some of them need to be electrocuted. So there's all these different processes that are applied to these different things that they call elements, right? We're going to be learning a lot about elements as we go through this topic. And don't be hung up on the scientific terms, because we're always going to take it to something practical that you can actually test, measure, replicate yourself. All right. So
Yeah.
if we can't do those things, then we're just going to throw it out as nonsense. And so I'm just trying to prep people for this topic, because I know that some of this language I'll be trying to just sort of skim through and hit the highlights. But we will be watching the chat for questions. And one of the other things that we totally expect is to get some of these things wrong as we're going through it. Not intentionally, but
okay,
as we go
on.
through these things and we start we start trying to connect this and that and the other, what eventually is going to happen is we're going to get to a point where we sort of start to misstep. And what we expect is the shills and the New World Order agents to come in and point out where we started to deviate, and now all something's not testable, repeatable, or verifiable, and we'll take the correction. So this is a no lose course where we put the stuff out here, and if we have a misspeak or a miscomprehension of something, and we get corrected on it, we get to tighten it up for everybody.
You know what they used to say in science class was that there was no bad questions, and I was like, that's great, because I always had my hand up. I always had questions to ask. So I'm looking forward to getting into the processes on how to create and store energy, and getting us unplugged from the grid and not having to use the dyno fuel anymore. So I'm going to throw on the screen share, and we'll get you all ready to go.
Sounds good.
You can start getting yourself aligned here, and then once you're set up and ready, I'll switch over my stuff. But thank you guys for tuning in again. We are Beyond Flat Earth. We've been Beyond Flat Earth for a long time. But tonight we're the hydrogen economy guys. We're going to talk to you guys and explain. Jason's got a whole thing ready to go. Thank you for tuning in. It's Sunday, November 6th. It's 6:26 p.m. The clocks do go back tonight. So at 12 it becomes 11 again, or what? At 1 it becomes 12 again. I don't know how it works, but make sure you're prepared. The other upcoming things, we got the eclipse that's going to be taking place on Election Day. What's that, the 8th, right?
Yeah, that's also the day that I get to use the Awake Souls channel again.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're not going to use it, but anyways. So are you ready for me to present?
Sure. Yeah.
Let's go.
I do intend, once I have the ability to do something on the channel again, to put up something, and yeah, I'm gonna have some sharp words for YouTube. And so Ronnie and I are also working on how we can do the same thing that we're doing right now somewhere else. All right, some place that what YouTube has done recently, it's over the top, it's over the line, it's really, really bad. So there'll be a little update on the Awake Souls channel. So we'll try to hold on to the channel just to be able to use it to let people know where it is that we are going live. So Odyssey looks like it's a possibility, and yeah, we got to test it out, but we got to find something, because ooh baby, YouTube is bad right now. So this right here is actually from the Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy. So this is a energy.gov website, fuel cell basics. And this is the part that I didn't comprehend and I didn't understand when I heard about fuel cells a number of years ago. But in the last year, it's really started to sink into my head what is taking place here. And it's super important. And so we're going to be going over this process over and over and over and over again, so that everybody just right away understands and comprehends the processes involved and how we can use hydrogen. This should be the most common basic knowledge that any human alive has, right? Because it is the most abundant energy source. It is clean energy, and we can use it for anything that we want to do with it. So just really want to wake people up to the opportunity here, the potential. And so to do that, we have to get everybody educated in hydrogen and what fuel cells are. So we're going to go through the fuel cell basics over and over and over. It's going to show up in these different videos. And let's hear what Energy 101 fuel cell technology from energy.gov has to say. Then we'll go through this.
We all live in a modern world, a world full of technologies that look completely futuristic just a generation ago. Those modern futuristic devices that help get us through the day all use energy. And to supply all of that energy, we need fuel. Today, the technology around generating clean, renewable energy is evolving about as fast as the rest of our modern world. And among the most versatile examples is in fuel cell technology. Fuel cells provide critical energy backup for many large facilities.
All right, so I just want to point out
Check. Yeah, I'm here, brother, by the way.
that what we're seeing here are real buildings. If I go back a click here,
As opposed to not real buildings? I'm confused.
so this isn't fake technology.
What? Okay.
Fake technology like satellites, all we get is CGI pictures of it, right? There's never a real picture of a satellite in outer space. So here we're actually seeing that this is a real tech that's in use and in existence. This isn't fantasy stuff, right?
Now I get what you're meaning. Yeah, this is real. You can see that we're in the building. We're not in outer space looking at CGI. Well said.
Yeah.
Fuel cells provide critical energy backup for many large facilities, and they provide primary energy for some remote locations.
All right, so I just want to show everybody, here's your first look at an electrolyzer. All right, so we're going to learn the key components of something, and this right here is an electrolyzer. So this is where they're making hydrogen. So as we keep going through this and you start seeing the equipment over and over, you're going to just learn to be able to spot these things and understand that this is what holds it together. There's a bunch of plates. You've got some hoses in and out, right? And some electrical connections. And these are going to be the key components that you are going to become totally familiar with.
Fuel cells are even being used to power vehicles and homes. How does it work? A fuel cell is sort of like a battery. It generates electricity from the simple and abundant hydrogen and oxygen found in chemical compounds all around us. And here's the cool thing. A hydrogen fuel cell's exhaust is nothing but water.
All right. So that's that right there. That's a big sell. If you've got an advertisement, all right, and your product, the dirtiest thing it puts out is perfectly pure water. It's a high sell feature, right?
Yeah, I mean, how can you argue against that?
Especially to the environmentally concerned type person.
Yeah, but they don't care. They're not that environmentally concerned. It shows, right?
Well, yeah, but the difference between a hydrogen fueled car and one that's running off of dino remains. Just kidding. Right, one creates carbon monoxide, which is poisonous if you inhale it. It'll kill you, right? And this one, you have pure air and water.
Pure water, right, and oxygen.
All right, so that sounds like a good upsell feature right there.
There are several different types of fuel cell technology.
All right, so here's a stack. You're going to start seeing the different configurations. This is a big stack. This would be, you could power some stuff with this. And this is the fuel cell. This isn't the electrolyzer. So you're going to become familiar with this as we keep going through this.
technologies. All are designed for specific applications, but essentially, they all work on the same principles. Have a look at this. Hydrogen gas is fed into one side of the fuel cell, and air, which contains oxygen, is fed into the other. Hydrogen passes through the layers of the fuel cell, and as this happens, it induces a positive and a negative charge, which generates an electrical current. Finally, the hydrogen is combined with the oxygen and reacts to form H2O.
All right. So that's a beautiful diagram right there. Really one of the best that I've come across in my learning about this right now. And so to put this in simple terms, hydrogen, right? This is something that was separated from water. Electrolysis. You electrocute the water, and the hydrogen and oxygen they come off in a gas form and can be separated from each other. So you can store just the hydrogen, you can store just the oxygen, but really the hydrogen is the thing that is most important to us. We want to store the hydrogen and then use that as a fuel. If you were to think of just like the gas at a pump, you want to pump this hydrogen in, and that hydrogen, this whole setup here, you're going to have an anode, a cathode, you're going to have these membranes. So basically you just put the gas in, and with a mechanical device like this, you get electricity, right? And you also get heat. And the oxygen, you don't have to store and bring your own oxygen because there's enough of it just within the regular air. You just let regular air in and you will get this process, right? And this is fuel cell technology, where you are taking hydrogen, and by having it breathe its way in through this device, you get electricity and heat and water as a result of it. So this right here, if you have hydrogen, you can charge batteries and you can run electric motors and all that kind of stuff off the fuel cell. So it took me the better part of a year to really get this whole process starting to click and flow in my head. And so I know that some people, when they start hearing this right now, it's going to not make much sense to them. But I'm going to assure you that as you continue on this topic, you keep seeing this process over and over and over, that all of a sudden it's going to make sense to you. And it's not as complicated as all these H2s and all these other letters and stuff like that. So let's keep going here.
Better known as water. Individual fuel cells can be stacked to provide more power. The taller the stack, the more power it generates. Because of this stackability, fuel cells can be manufactured to scale for a variety of power needs. One important thing to keep in mind about hydrogen, it's not an energy source itself. Hydrogen is what's called an energy carrier. That means energy from another.
All right. So there's a statement from energy.gov right now that it's not a fuel, it's an energy carrier. And that is something that we're going to be showing to be not true.
Well, isn't the ammonia the energy carrier when it carries the hydrogen?
Yeah, so it's true that hydrogen is a way of storing energy, absolutely, but it's also a fuel, because if you combust it, I mean, if you burn hydrogen, what is that? It's a fuel. You have an open flame. So it is a fuel, but it's also a way of storing energy. So it's true in two different ways, and we want to keep making that clear, because it is a fuel and it is a storage mechanism. It's not right to say it's not one of those.
Another source can be used to generate hydrogen. Hydrogen then stores the energy from that original source until it's used to power a fuel cell. One common way to extract hydrogen is through a process called splitting water, where hydrogen is separated from oxygen using an electrical current. Hydrogen can...
So it's interesting that they don't even use the word electrolysis here, even though that's really the word that's commonly associated with it. But Yeah, so electrolysis is sending an electrical current through the water when you have an electrolyte and you have these anodes and cathodes. So um, eventually, this whole process, you're going to learn it through repetition. It'll become natural to you. And tonight, what we want to do is we want to make you understand that this is an important technology to you. If you like your iPhone and you want it to last the battery as long as possible, if you're sick of it lasting 10 hours or 15 or 20 hours, if we could have a technology that battery could last way longer than that, or let's say you just had to push your phone up to a tank of hydrogen gas and just that one puff filled the battery, just right? Like you were filling a balloon, but just all of a sudden you had all the energy restored to it. You wouldn't even have to wait the hours that it does to recharge batteries. So there's all these
Yeah,
cool
well,
things, ways that we can use it, right?
well, just one quick interjection was you were supposing that if we could take the hydrogen and put it into the battery cell and have a fueling station, it's instantaneous. You're not saying that there's like an hour wait. You're saying this is instant.
Well, it's quick. So depending on your system, you've got high pressure hydrogen storage. You also have a real safe way of storing it within catalysts where it gets absorbed like in a crystalline form into little cylinders under low pressure, right? So another amazing way that just within the last year I started to learn and understand about this type of storage. And wow, I mean, there's so many ways that I would love to use that technology. That's so going forward, that's I don't want to store hydrogen under pressure, right? A lot of people say the downside to hydrogen is because it's such a voluminous gas that the only way to efficiently store it is under high pressure. And I just don't like that idea, knowing that there's this dry chemical way of storing your hydrogen at low pressure. So um, these are the things that we want to make sure everybody becomes aware of. And so creative minds start envisioning ways to use these things on a personal level, like the way it'll really apply to us. So none of us probably have the ability to put together a system like this, right? This is a
Well, yeah, we would need like a lot of money.
lot of money. This is, you know, sourcing all these parts and having the guys that know how to assemble this stuff correctly. This is heavy investment. So the reason why we're still talking about this topic is it doesn't have to be done on scales like this, right? It can be done on a scale personal to being able to power just your own home and maybe being able to fill up a hydrogen storage tank that you could then just place in your car like it was a bottle of nitrous and you were a drag racer, and you would just
Yeah.
plug it in, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, boom, you've got we're going to see tonight that it looks like the tech is there for that type of a move to be able to get 2,000 kilometers out of one tank before you have to recharge it again. All right, so that doesn't sound too bad now, does it? Especially if you would be able to fill one of those canisters full of hydrogen for free from
Yeah.
solar energy or wind or something like that.
Man, the transfer is almost instant. You don't have to wait for it to charge. Like everybody using these stupid Teslas that blow up as soon as they get water on the battery. So continue. And also, I just wanted to give you the update. Whenever it is that you would like a music break, you just tell me. We can go to a break and cut to. But I know we've just begun.
Yeah, sounds good. Maybe around 7 or so. So this is still Energy 101. We're learning about hydrogen right now, everybody.
Can also be extracted from natural gas in a process called reforming. Although each of these methods require some energy themselves, once extracted, hydrogen can generate electricity without any combustion. In other words, a clean energy source. One of the things that fuel cells are used for today is as backup power sources for industrial applications, like factories and universities. If the power grid should go down, then these fuel cells can be powered up to produce electricity with no harmful emissions. Today, hydrogen...
See, that sounds great. Produce electricity with no harmful emissions. Now we're going to hear through all this content that we're going through about the scalability of all these techs. So they've literally just jumped the scale that would affect the average consumer and taken it just to the industrial level, skipping the average consumer. So the purpose of all this, bringing this information forth, is for us to be able to come up with consumer level variants of the same technology that they have, but one that would be more applicable to us.
Hydrogen fuel cell test vehicles are already on the road. A local fueling station like this one contains hydrogen that then can be used by a fuel cell powered vehicle to run an electric motor. The result is an electric car with no emissions except water. In the future, we could see fuel cells powering even more homes, offices, industries, and vehicles, supplied by a reliable hydrogen infrastructure and supporting our nation's clean energy economy. Fuel cell technology, a long-term sustainable solution to help meet the world's need for clean and reliable energy.
We agree. We agree that everything that we're learning about hydrogen is telling us that this is the way of the future. And so I just want to show people, if you Google fuel cell and look at the pictures.
You got to scroll up, please.
Well,
Or down. I couldn't see what you were pointing at.
Will it? I don't know if it'll let me do that.
I can see on the right, Horizon to deliver world's first 500 horsepower PEM fuel cells. So there you go. Thank you. Now I can see it.
Yeah, so this is, bring this down a little. I just want you to be able to see Google search fuel cell. This is the pictures. And so here's a good variety of pictures of what you can expect. So individual cells are put together like this, where you have these end plates, you have anodes.
You're a bit low. Hold on one second. You're a bit low on your volume on the mic.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Yeah, well, I had turned it down when
That's
I went
better.
on screen share.
Thank you.
So these are the types of pictures to expect. Right? You're going to have your end plates, you're going to have your anodes, cathodes, and electrolytes. And you're going to become familiar with this. This right here, all right, this is a relatively new picture. Horizon to deliver world's first 500 horsepower PEM. All right, this is a type of a hydrogen fuel cell, the PEM, that is the one that's probably primarily most suited to us as the consumer. Right? There's a bunch of different ways that you can do it, but this right here is probably most suited to us. So 500 horsepower. This right here is this is almost in the hot rod category.
It's not bad at all.
Or even heavy trucks.
Yeah, your truck. Right? It might be a little more than 5, but
well, I think even semis and stuff, their horsepower might be in this area. So this type of engine right here, you put hydrogen into it. That's the fuel. Right? And then this engine right here creates electricity. So now instead of a combustion engine, this is producing the electricity for electric motors for even things like semis. Right? So this is a really important tech. You can see that this is what the auto manufacturers, some of their fuel cells look like. This is Hyundai's. We're going to be looking at Toyota's version coming up. And so in an automotive situation, this is the type of thing that you can expect to see now. Here's another look. These are the fuel cells that you put hydrogen in, you get electricity and heat out, and some fresh water. So this is get into the hydrogen fuel cells, but let's do just a little bit about hydrogen itself first. And so this is the key. It's in water, right? 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen. So you get 2 to 1. And water, we use water as proof that Earth is a flat plane, right? Because there's so much of it, 70% water. Obviously, there's a lot of hydrogen because it's not just water.
That's an understatement. We live in a water realm, right?
Right. And that's not the only place you get the hydrogens. The hydrogen's in the
it's
goop that they pump out of the ground.
Yes.
It's in a log of wood. It's in the coal.
Split a rock, you'll find hydrogen there, huh?
Methane gas.
It's everywhere. It's in the what is the other one? We're saying it's like ammonia. Ammonia carries. You can carry more hydrogen in the liquid of ammonia than hydrogen can carry on its own. Right? It's amazing.
Our bodies have hydrogen. It's all
and the reaction that takes place, whether it be in our body or in anything else, is what creates the energy. We use hydrogen to create energy too.
All right. So as we get into Wikipedia, everybody, I just want you to start seeing how we can just like sort of fly through some of the nonsense numbers and formulas and stuff like that and get to something that's testable, verifiable, repeatable, that we can actually have a conclusion that we can know and understand. All right. So it's given the symbol H, right? H1, H2. All right, we know that the atomic number. So this is the lightest of all things. It's the most spacious of all the gases. So it in its natural uncompressed state has the most amount of volume. All right, so it's the lightest. If you want to lift something, hydrogen is your best lifter, right? It's lighter than air, more than helium. Helium's your other lighter than air. Hydrogen is combustible, but one of the big things that we are going to be talking about is a specific thing about its combustibility that nobody else talks about. Nobody else. And it's what sets us apart from everybody else. And that is when it's combusted, it implodes. It does not explode. So at standard conditions, hydrogen is a gas of diametric molecules, odorless, tasteless, non-toxic, highly combustible. All right,
non-toxic.
Right, it's non-toxic. It's combustible, but it doesn't explode. It implodes, and we really got to bang that point home over and over and over. We'll be showing people a whole bunch of examples of how it implodes. If somebody suggests that it explodes, they're a shill, or they've been disinformed or misinformed by a shill.
Yeah.
You can
DHS agent online spreading malinformation.
Yeah, you can separate yourself completely from somebody that's talking about hydrogen exploding. So they say it consists of like 75% of all normal matter.
Oh, wow. Let's take a look at that one more second. Hydrogen consists of 75% of all normal matter. So again, everything that we use fuel, it's absolutely using the hydrogen is what's being the fuel. In every fuel, it's all because, is it what? How many? 72% of this realm is water, right? I'm saying
the proof is coming up soon. You're going to see that Wikipedia is going to have their undies in a bundle quick, because the hydrogen, we're going to see the proof that it really is the fuel. All right, so most of the hydrogen on Earth exists in molecular forms such as water and organic compounds. So anything organic is going to have hydrogen.
Each atom, huh? They got atoms.
We've got
neutrons.
The universe, the Big Bang, the recombination epoch, plasma. All right, so it's non-metallic except at extremely high pressures.
Okay.
And readily forms a single covalent bond with most non-metallic elements, forming such compounds such as water nearly all organic compounds. So hydrogen plays a particularly important role in acid-base reactions.
There's the key right there.
There's the key. Because these reactions usually involve the exchange of protons between soluble molecules.
We get some free radicals.
In ionic compounds, hydrogen can take the form of a negative charge. Oh, now all of a sudden we're talking about an electrical position, right?
So it's like the you can uncharge the screwdriver, you can uncharge the hydrogen is what they're saying, right?
Where it is known as a hydride or as positively charged. Species denoted by the H+ symbol. All right,
So it's a little truncated on the right. Here, I might be able to fix that on my end. No, I don't think I can. Is there any way you can make it smaller? This is the section. We just need to move over to the left. You could make it larger and then scale, move your cursor to the right. There, you're showing the new system there.
yeah.
A little bit more to the left. I see to the end of the B in symbol at the top after proton. I can only see to the B. There we go. I got the O and the L. Okay. It's not centered, but we can see it all. Please continue.
All right, so now all of a sudden with hydrogen, we've learned about with acids and bases, we can get an electrical charge. All right, that's a key thing. Now we've got Cavendish, who shows up in this.
Oh, no.
Who was the first to recognize that hydrogen gas was a discrete substance. Now, this is
What?
1766
Hold on.
to 1781.
So should we just give a quick shout out to Cavendish's failed experiment where he observed 2 lead balls hanging from his shed with a telescope, and he said he was able to measure the weight of the sun, the moon, and all the stars from that, the 2 attracting to each other. That is the Cavendish experiment.
So he came up with that nonsense, but he also was the first one that they credit with recognizing hydrogen as a discrete gas.
Well, that's interesting. So when you say discrete gas, what is that basically outlining, if you could be a little more descriptive?
Being able to separate it from common air into one specialized form of gas. And so they've been able to separate out a number of them. You've got hydrogen, oxygen, helium, all these other trace gases. They all exist in the common breath of air, but they come in varying quantities. So you have to be able to figure out how to separate each one of those specific things out. So helium's in our regular breathing air. They just have to be able to filter for it and collect a bunch of it. Same is true of each one of these gases. Nitrogen is another big one that all of these play a role. CO2 is another gas that we're going to find is
wait a minute.
super important, right?
So our lungs, are they basically hydrogen reaction machines inside of our avatars?
Yeah, you could. Yes. Yeah, so it's a fuel source for us. Absolutely. And we do have a chemical system going on within us where the salts, all these types of things, all these things are essential parts of the process that we see and how we separate each one of these certain elements from each other through these chemical processes. We'll see the role that the salts have in all of that. It's an amazing energy storage mechanism. The salts are.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, and then there's the alkaline and the base. And yeah, so the human body really does tie into the processes that we see for the creation of hydrogen and how we can use it. Yeah, it's like the human body.
So we are approaching 7 o'clock, 3 minutes to 7, if you want to continue for a few more minutes.
Yeah, do you want to take a break? This would be a good place.
Yeah, I guess we can right now. We got a song ready to go for the second break. So, okay, I'll put the thumbnail on, and we'll go to the second song break. We'll see you guys after this one. Turn it up. That's a good roller. That's a new one. That is My Girl. And we're going to get back into this screen share. So thank you guys for tuning in. Again, we try to bring new music every week. That's one of the things that we do. Jason, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that song break as well. I'm sure you will in the future. Please, if you want to locate the link to the song, all you have to do, I am in the future now, open the live chat replay, and as the song plays, you will see the link in the chat box. Okay, Jason, you are back on the screen, and we are ready to get into the second half of part 1, the hydrogen economy.
So unbelievably, Henry Cavendish, with being recognized with the discovery of the discrete gas hydrogen, and that it produced water when burned, the property for which it was latter named. In Greek, hydrogen means water former. Come on, how cool is that? Water former.
Wow.
Hydrogen gas is the water former. I like that. All right, so industrial production. Where do we get our hydrogen from, everybody? They say on Wikipedia, it is mainly from steam reforming of natural gas, oil reforming, or coal gasification. So here's your
wow
things,
those,
right?
That's all the dirty tech.
So they're saying that they're using these fuels and steam to somehow hydrocrack and produce their hydrogen, right? It says a small percentage is also produced using more energy-intensive methods, such as the electrolysis of water. So they're saying that electrolysis is more intensive than using natural gas or coal or oil, right? It says most hydrogen is used near the site of its production, the two largest uses being fossil fuel processing. What? Hold on here.
What?
Hold on here. Most hydrogen is used near the site of its production. So they produce the hydrogen next to the fossil fuel place because they use the hydrogen for the fossil fuel processing. You see, you have a contradiction here. It can't work like that. If they're using the natural fuel to create hydrogen, you don't create the hydrogen to create fossil fuel, right? That doesn't work. So then it continues, and ammonia production. So this ammonia thing is going to be a topic that we're going to be on for a long time, because it really does look like there's a huge amount of potential with ammonia. So mostly for the fertilizer market. Now here we are in a situation where they're talking about we don't have enough fertilizer, and we're not going to be able to feed people because of the lack of fertilizer because of the war in Ukraine. Right?
Yeah, that's the story.
Well, what is it that you need to make ammonia? You need hydrogen. Right? So in order to make ammonia, you need to have hydrogen. So anybody that has hydrogen can make ammonia. That's what they do. They separate the hydrogen out, and then they make ammonia with the hydrogen. And we're going to see that there's multiple ways that can be done. And so we are going to be exploring ammonia as a mechanism of delivery of hydrogen, right? Because it's got a lot of potential. It can be burned to produce heat or combined with oxygen in fuel cells to generate electricity directly, with water being the only emissions at the point of usage. Hydrogen atoms, but not gaseous molecules, are problematic in metallurgy because they can embrittle many metals. So this is an interesting thing about hydrogen, is you don't really want to store hydrogen gas or liquid hydrogen in these metal canisters, because of what the hydrogen does is it embrittles the metals themselves, right?
It corrodes it away through a reaction.
Yeah, well, it makes it brittle due to crack under pressure and those types of things. It loses its malleability that it had originally. So combustion. This right here, everything that you see about hydrogen, right? The space shuttle main engine, right? There's a hydrogen.
Unbelievable that NASA shows up here.
Of course, of course. The spatial main engine was a hydrogen engine. So I just want to take a second here. Let's point out that hydrogen implodes. All right. Nobody's going to tell you that. You just have to be able to deduce it. And so if you do a little bit of looking around, you'll find something like this. This guy's got 766,000 subs, tech ingredients. I just found it through the search. And so he's going to fill these balloons with hydrogen. And let's just go back to the beginning here. You're going to see in the intro. Let's go all the way to the intro. Come on. All right. So don't repeat this. It's not safe.
Hi, I really think you're going to like this video today.
What's going on here? So he's got bubbles. He's got gloves on. All right. If this was an explosion, would you be worried about doing it? What? See, there is a bounce back, but it's not an explosion. So let's go to the balloons that he did. And he says that it shook buildings over a mile away. So that's with this orange balloon here.
When I use the spark, this doesn't work. The reason
Or
this or explode this with an external flame, just like the bubbles inside.
there we go.
Ready? Bet I know what you're thinking.
Oh, wow.
He's happy with himself there.
Didn't break the camera. How can you not smile?
Exactly. Let's watch this in slow-mo.
Ah.
That's
So-
loud.
It's huge. It's knocking the snow off of these trees in the background. If you watch here, there's like this blurry effect where there's a shock wave that nails all these trees back here. But here this guy is standing within, I don't know, maybe 15 feet of this.
Yeah, it's
little
not
bit.
that dangerous for him, right?
No, it's not an explosion. If that shock wave was an explosive shock wave, it would have blown him right over. This balloon barely even left the area. All right, so it's the properties of the way hydrogen implodes. It's actually fusion. The hydrogen and oxygen are coming back together and they're going to make water. So inside that balloon, that hydrogen, the oxygen that's around it, when it combusts and it implodes, there was probably a drop of water that fell on the ground. But it did have impressive force, and like it says here, shaking buildings over a mile away doesn't surprise me whatsoever. And that was a relatively small balloon. Just imagine if this green one, if that was the hydrogen. Just one more time in the slow-mo here, give you an idea.
Didn't break the camera. How can you not smile?
See that green balloon just lightly bouncing around?
Ah.
Watch what it did to the trees and so we are going to continue to harp and harp and harp and harp It can't be an explosion. If that was an explosion right there, that would have blown this guy to bits. This green balloon would have moved around more than it did. So is there anything more we want to say about hydrogen? Electron energy levels. At some point we're going to hear that it's the densest energy storage mechanism that we have here on Earth. And we'll get the number for that. Different phases. So hydrogen can be a gas, it can be a liquid, it can be a slush, it can be solid, it can be metallic, and it can be plasma. All right, so chances are you're not familiar with a number of those states. And so as we continue to go through this information, we're going to all become familiar with these different phases, and we're going to choose which phase we want to use hydrogen in, right? Because there's advantages and disadvantages to each one of these, and it depends on what you're using it for. All right, so hydrides. We're going to be hearing about this a bunch. And so these hydrides are formed, they're like salts, when hydrogen interacts with different elements. And we're going to find which ones that it creates the most amount of hydrides and which ones it creates the least. And we're going to be looking at the ones that create the most, because it's an energy storage mechanism. So let's move on to energy storage. So Wiki does have some information about hydrogen storage, and so it can be accomplished in a number of different methods. So they include mechanical approaches, such as using high pressures and low temperatures, or employing chemical compounds that release H2 upon demand. Ooh. All right, let's think about this, brother. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you've got a tank like this, and they say it's real spacious, so you want to compress it, now all of a sudden, this thing, you got to put the gas under a huge amount of pressure, right? That doesn't sound super safe. But now all of a sudden they said, you can employ chemical compounds that release H2 upon demand.
Yeah, that's a more controllable way.
Yeah. While large amounts of hydrogen are produced by various industries, and most they consumed at the site of production, notably for the synthesis of ammonia. Right? Once again, that ammonia word popping up again. For many years, hydrogen has been stored as compressed gas or cryogenic liquid and transported as such in cylinders, tubes, or cryogenic tanks for use in industry or as propellants in space programs, right? So,
yeah, Elon Musk, right?
Yeah, liquid hydrogen. It's definitely the one that you want to use. So that is, liquid hydrogen is the densest way you can store hydrogen. But so there's the compressed hydrogen option. Compressed hydrogen in hydrogen tanks at 350 bar, which is 5,000 psi, and 700 bar, 10,000 psi. So those are big numbers. That's a lot of pressure. So your system has to be able to be, specially designed to handle these types of pressures. Then there's liquid hydrogen. BMW made a liquid hydrogen car.
Yeah, they're all over the hydrogen.
That's hilarious. All right, so chemical storage could offer high temperature performance due to the high storage densities. So methanol shows up over and over and over as another way of storing energy, just like hydrogen.
You mean ammonia?
Ammonia.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Hydrogen and ammonia. So methanol is another way that it has to be energy dense in hydrogen. It has to be. Let's see here. Got your nanoparticles. There's no such thing, everybody. No nanoparticles. All right. Hydrogenation of CO2. Because there's another topic that's going to come up. So this CO2 word, this is the thing that the New World Order, the WEF, all these groups, the Paris Climate Agreement, they all want to reduce CO2. CO2. We have to understand what CO2 is. That's not carbon monoxide, the stuff that comes out of the tailpipe of your car. CO2 is carbon dioxide, the bubbly stuff that they put into fizzy drinks.
Yeah, well, this is a key point for me to chime in here. These two things obviously get tied together and misrepresented, maliciously, actually. So what you're stating is the CO2 that they want to reduce to nothing is the fizzy water. The bubbles in my fizzy water is the CO2 that they say is just ruining the environment, not the carbon monoxide that's coming out of the tailpipe from the car.
Correct, yeah. CO2 is the gas that plants eat in photosynthesis. It's the bubbly stuff that they put in soda water.
So we eat it too.
Mm-hmm. We do too. So CO2 is not necessarily a bad thing, and at some point we're going to be showing everybody how CO2 can be used in a closed loop system as a power generating gas. All right, so instead of putting all this CO2 in the bubbly water, we could be using it to give ourselves some absolutely sustainable
energy,
right?
Yeah.
Sustainable energy. I can't call it free because there's infrastructure costs, but it's sustainable. So let's see here. Metal hydrides. This is the thing that blew me away. When I started learning about this, I was like, come on. Because we were talking about high pressure storage and these other things. Now all of a sudden you get to metal hydrides and it says such as MgH2, all these other ones with the letters and the numbers represent sources of stored hydrogen. Again, the persistent problems that the percent weight of H2 that they can carry and the reversibility of the storage process. Some are easy to fuel liquids at ambient temperatures and pressure, whereas others are solid, which could be turned into pellets. These materials have good energy density, although their specific energy is often worse than the leading hydrocarbon fuels. That's misleading because what they're saying here is the energy density that you can store in these different metal hydrides. So now also not under pressure, but under low pressure, the gas actually absorbs into these metals, these catalysts, and a hydride is formed, and that's the way the hydrogen is stored.
Yeah. And there's a typo on the page. After H2, between weight and the carry, it needs to be a space before that.
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff wrong on Wikipedia, and we're going to be able to filter through it and just pick out the stuff that is relevant and testable and verifiable. All right, so these different metals are the ones that we're going to be hearing a whole bunch about. Proposed hydrides,
sodium,
in a hydrogen economy includes simple hydrides of magnesium or transition metals and complex metal hydrides, typically containing sodium, lithium, or calcium, and aluminum or boron. Hydrides chosen for specific applications provide low reactivity, high safety, and high hydrogen storage densities. Leading candidates are lithium hydride, sodium borohydride, lithium aluminum hydride, and ammonia borane. All right, so here's a number of different potentials out there that are listed as great hydrides, meaning that this is something that hydrogen likes to bond with. Right?
Yeah, I wanted to point out sodium was the common in salt, right? Lithium is another material you can mine. Calcium is a byproduct of many things. Our bodies produce calcium. So we actually produce storable hydrogen out of our own bodies. Aluminum, again, we get the tinfoil conspiracy showing up here. Into the hydrogen storage, you can turn your aluminum foil, you can create a reaction and actually draw and power a battery with the reaction that you can do with aluminum here, boron as well. So the thing that I want to point out is it's these commonly found things in all of the reality in our realm. Us, the animals, the plants, everything, the rock, the dirt, the water, everything carries this.
All right. So I think this is a good time to share this clip right here about aluminum, because it seems like this totally innocuous, like you're never going to power and save the whole world with aluminum, right? But check this out. All right. So this is the stuff that we're coming across here.
Plastic liner on the inside? Not gonna lie, I'm curious to see what that looks like. Let's go. We're gonna start by making a sodium hydroxide bath.
So just point out there, it says sodium hydroxide, and then it says lye. So most people have heard of lye. You can buy it at the grocery store. So lye, you put that in here.
We're gonna scuff up the outside of the can with a little sandpaper and then immerse it in the sodium hydroxide bath.
Whoa, you see that fizz going on here? Pay attention.
Yeah, wow.
He is going to slip and tell us what that fizz actually is.
The reaction is between sodium hydroxide and aluminum, which liberates hydrogen gas, the bubbles you see here.
What? We went over that pretty quick. So his video is about the plastic liner that's inside the can.
I think I heard him.
But he just showed us you put lye, you got lye there, you put the aluminum in there, and it dissolves into hydrogen gas.
Hydrogen gas, yeah, that's great.
So you were saying that the Back to the Future car.
Yeah. You put pop cans. The doc put pop cans in with a bunch of banana peels and all this other matter. And he put the pop cans into the, what do they call it? The reactor of his time traveling vehicle. For all you that watched all those movies, I'm sure you remember what I'm talking about.
So, I mean, you're telling me that we really can have a tub of lye and pick up, aluminum cans and stuff like that. Throw it into this little hopper full of our lye, close the lid and collect the hydrogen gas as we clean up the litter. That's recycling right there.
And we can time travel too if we get technical enough.
Yeah, so watch this.
It just fell over. Something happened.
Is he really running?
So there really is a plastic liner in the can.
Yeah, that's all that's left.
Well, somehow you just brushed over the fact that the aluminum reacted with lye and turned into hydrogen gas.
Wow. That's incredible, right?
So these are the types of chemical reactions that take place. There's tons of different chemical. So here, aluminum reacts with lye to turn into hydrogen. Now you can pick a different metal and a different caustic agent, and that combination will turn it into hydrogen. Or, so each one of these, you put this chemical with this metal, and you get this gas. You put this chemical with this chemical, and you get this gas. We're going to be learning how all that works. It's going to be fun and exciting. So aluminum really has a big role. All right, we can't forget about aluminum, everybody. Hydrogen can be produced using aluminum by reacting it with water. All right, it was previously believed that to react with water, aluminum must be stripped of its natural oxide layer using caustic substances, alloys, or mixing with gallium. It has since been demonstrated that efficient reaction is possible by increasing the temperature and pressure of the reaction. The byproduct of the reaction to create hydrogen is aluminum oxide, which can be recycled back into aluminum with this process, making the reaction theoretically renewable.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. So not only is it our conspiracy hats are made out of it, but everybody goes around saying that it's tinfoil. It's actually aluminum foil hats, just for all those conspiracy theories out there, theorists. But now you're telling me that it's creates hydrogen. It's a storage reactionary material that creates hydrogen. And it's renewable, theoretically, if you get the Hall-Héroult process.
Yeah, so I actually had to do a little bit of research into aluminum because all of a sudden when I started seeing those things, I was like...
Was it NASA that invented aluminum too, like Tang and Velcro?
All right, so aluminum, you can't dig around in the dirt anywhere and find aluminum.
No? They just flatten it out and make the sheets that we use, right?
No. There's no nuggets of aluminum anywhere.
Okay.
So aluminum comes from a certain crystal. It's this reddish.
A crystal? What? Get out of here.
What is it, borite or something like that?
Boron.
I'm not sure. So they take this stuff.
Okay, that's rock, sediment.
Yeah, through a electrical process. They have anodes and cathodes.
Okay, so they sift it through magnetizing and unmagnetizing.
Yeah, so
great.
This is creating aluminum right now.
Is this video from the 70s? I know it's still, it's what they're going to show us. So that's making aluminum at that spot right there.
Yeah, so this was in a pot. So
okay.
Here's the pots. They have these things, huge amounts of electricity.
Oh.
So through electrolysis, they make aluminum.
They just...
Anode is inserted in...
All right.
See, they're good. Opening up the jaws there and dumping it out. So inside the bucket there is where it's being produced.
They suction it up with this big can over here. They put a tube.
It looks like an old, regular can. A watering can.
They stuck it out of here.
Okay, so they put the dirt in there. So this is a foundry, right?
It's a foundry.
I grew up with a couple in my area.
Into the pot. Thus, the aluminum fabrication continues uninterrupted.
So they turn aluminum.
Okay, so they melt the rock till it turns into a molten sludge. And then they use that thing to suck it out, and then it comes out like that?
Yeah, and then they just have to cool this off.
Wow.
And they can cast it, do whatever they want with it.
Shape it. That's cool. That'd be a fun job, right? Although it's probably hot.
It doesn't show up in nature. It's a chemical process that it goes through where they're able to make this metal. And that chemical process we just saw reversed when exposed to lye.
Yeah, and then you can, again, through the Héroult procedure, put it back in again, right, to aluminum.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
So, yeah, hydrogen does the same similar thing. So each one of these things, we see the different states that it can be in. It never really gets destroyed. You can dissolve gold in a certain chemical composition, and then you can reconstitute the gold out of it by adding another element to it, and all of a sudden, boom, you got your gold back.
It's purification of it. You're purifying it, and also what you're doing is it's almost like cold fusion and then refusion.
I've got one more aluminum before we move on, because then the next one's magnesium. But I just want to show people. So we're talking about hydrogen energy storage as opposed to battery storage. And there's pros and cons for both. And I just want to show everybody that we're not all of a sudden anti-battery because we're pro-hydrogen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But so this guy makes a homemade aluminum air battery, and look at what he does here. This is a very do-it-yourselfable type thing. You've got aluminum foil,
Tic Tac container,
right? NaOH. This is going to be pipe cleaner.
Okay.
Right? There's the pipe cleaner guy.
There he is.
He's got his carbon electrodes right here.
Okay.
Tic Tac and some paper. These are hand towels.
Okay, let's see what he does. Wow, he's very methodical and precise, it seems.
Yeah, look. So this is the air cathode.
So that's...
So anode and cathode is what we're going to be hearing about a whole bunch. There's our membrane. There's the anode. Another membrane. There's the cathode. Wrap it up. You test it to make sure that there's no short, so that no metals touching each other. What he bundled up. Here comes his pipe cleaner.
And here we go. See how long it takes. There's no reaction happening. Oh, there is. It's creating power.
He's pulling 1.54 volts right there. .6 amps. Look at that. There's our principle in play right there, everybody. Look at how simple that is.
Yeah, it works well.
Yeah. So somebody in the comments here said, wow, 1.5 plus volts. That is the highest power homemade battery I've ever seen anywhere, and especially to be that size, a Tic Tac case. I can only imagine what you could do with a few of them, some in series to increase voltage, then wire each pair in parallel to double the MAH. They could be very useful. Damn, them lemon batteries, you would need 20 of them to create the power you did with just one of your design. So if you can get 1.5 volts from that Tic Tac case, and then you put 20 of those together, and all of a sudden you're at 30 volts. You're above. And that's serious.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely. The illusion with the lemon joke was one of the astronauts. He hung a lemon inside the cockpit of one of the space shuttles, and I think he was found dead a few days later.
So aluminum's no joke, everybody. Some serious stuff. Magnesium's got all of its properties. You got your annates-based systems. So plenty of stuff for you to read through and soak in. A lot of this stuff. Here, ammonia. Let's not skip this. So ammonia releases H2 in an appropriate catalytic reformer. Ammonia provides high oxygen storage densities as a liquid with mild pressurization and cryogenic constraints. It can also be stored as a liquid at room temperature and pressure when mixed with water. Ammonia is the second most common produced chemical in the world, and a large infrastructure for making, transporting, and distributing ammonia exists. Ammonia can be reformed to produce hydrogen with no harmful waste, or can mix with existing fuels and under the right conditions burn efficiently. Since there is no carbon in ammonia, no carbon byproducts are produced, thereby making this possibility a carbon neutral option for the future. Right? That's good.
That's how you're going to get to your net zero carbon right there. That's it. No carbon byproducts are produced, it says.
Yeah. Pure ammonia burns poorly at the atmospheric pressures found in natural gas-fired water heaters and stoves. Under compression in an automobile engine, it is suitable fuel for slightly modified gasoline engines. You can run...
What? We could just start using ammonia instead of gasoline?
Yeah, and it's like half the price of gasoline right now.
Really? We just need to...
Buck a gallon, right?
Just have to do an adjustment on the sparking system.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ammonia is a suitable alternative fuel because it has 18.6 megajoules per kilogram energy density at NTP, which I think is just natural conditions, and carbon-free combustion byproducts. So, ammonia, good.
So when aspirated, you get more spray out of the amount in the container as you would some other type liquid, right? Is that what they're saying?
Higher energy density. You would have to spray less of this because it's more concentrated.
That's what I mean. So it aspirates. It generates more aspiration, so more burn for the tank size.
Yeah, so it's got a few challenges. It's a toxic gas with a punt.
Oh no.
Motor.
Yeah, that's true.
But I read a bunch of this, and one of the neat things about ammonia gas is that your sensitivity to it, the point where you really try to get away from it quickly, is at a low level compared to where it's very harmful. All right, so extreme concentrations of ammonia gas, and you end up with chemical burns that look like you were in so the faked Hiroshima and Nagasaki death. It looks like they were actually exposed to strong ammonia.
Maybe that's what they used as their carpet bombing material.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's go ahead and keep moving here. I'm trying to think. There's got about 20 minutes left. We've got a lot of content so let's talk about ammonia a little bit more. This right here, I think everybody will find interesting. This comes from the WEF, the World Economic Forum.
Whoa. Okay.
These are the guys leading.
What do they have to say? They're leading the way here. Can green ammonia stop the world's addiction to fossil fuels?
So, this article is part of the Davos agenda. We know what that means. It says the world is already completely dependent on ammonia. In fact, half of the world's food production depends on it, as it is a key component of mineral fertilization. Today, ammonia accounts for about 5% of the world's gas consumption. So they're saying that they're using gas to make ammonia. If we can make ammonia from renewable energy, green ammonia, this is going to be a common term that we come across. The green ammonia is going to be stuff that the electrolysis was done using solar energy, wind power, tidal power, things like that.
So when we see green, we apply solar, wind, and tidal.
Mm-hmm. So that's the type of hydrogen we actually intend to be creating. We want to make some green hydrogen, not because it somehow fits with the world agenda, but because those are free fuel sources. So
yeah, renewable, right?
Yeah.
The sun comes out every day, and we can use its light and heat source for energy.
Wind blows, all those things. We'll just utilize as much of the free energy around us as we possibly can. So it technically will be green, right?
Yeah, of course.
All right. So what is green ammonia? The equation for ammonia looks something like this: power, gas or other source, plus water, electrolysis, equals hydrogen plus nitrogen equals ammonia. So
okay.
This is one of the secrets that we're really going to have to sort of unlock is how they put the hydrogen and the nitrogen together to create this ammonia. And I'm starting to see some electrolyzers and some processes that once you can do this, where you do your electrolysis and you're separating your hydrogen, if you can add the nitrogen right at that point, you can make yourself ammonia. And ammonia is a great storage mechanism for the hydrogen.
Yeah.
We would not be against that.
Well, I mean, and excuse me, are they saying that they spray this on the fields?
So they collect the ammonia and then they turn that into pellets somehow. They concentrate it.
Okay. and then they put that into the dirt.
Yeah.
And then it reacts with the environment, and then the plants eat it.
That's the stuff that we call fertilizer. So it's loaded with hydrogen and nitrogen. And that's the reason why the plants get fueled off of it. We're condensing hydrogen and nitrogen to spread it over the plants in order to give them an extra fuel source, a little kick. So if we swap the gas currently used as a power source to make hydrogen with a renewable source, hydroelectric, solar power, or wind turbines, we have the equation for green formula. So here you could have a hydroelectric setup, you could have a wind setup, you could have a solar setup, but you use the electricity from these things, which the environment provides to us for free, and we use that to create hydrogen through electrolysis. And then that hydrogen can be used, you just add your nitrogen, and all of a sudden you've got green ammonia. So now all of a sudden you have a liquid that can be transported around in tanker trucks and all different types of things. We just learned that you could put it into your gasoline engine and burn it as fuel. And so it's a relatively non-dangerous liquid to transport around that is a great hydrogen storage mechanism.
Yeah. These are all great things that we need to investigate further as we move forward. I like all of them. I like the understanding of it. And, it looks like ammonia and these catalyst type things is what we're going to be learning more and more about.
All right. So here's some great stats that we want to pick up. So the price of renewable energy must decrease. This is possible if we look at how the existing ammonia market would be opened up to a whole new set of users and thus buyers. Ammonia has 9 times the energy density of lithium-ion batteries.
Wow. 9 times.
9 times. So think about that. You have the energy density of your lithium-ion battery, which is what's probably powering your phone, your power tools, right? They're supposed to be good batteries, right? The lithium ions.
Yeah, is that the ones that are exploding though?
Yeah. So that's the problem. When water interacts with lithium ion batteries, you get an explosion. So
a reaction, right? A big reaction takes place.
They have to be sealed from the water, otherwise, yeah, they can start on fire and blow up. So ammonia, 9 times the energy density of lithium-ion batteries, and it's 3 times that of compressed hydrogen. Right? So we're going to see all these, like the Toyota and all these different cars, and every single one of them, they're going to use compressed hydrogen. Right? 10,000 psi, right? Sounds crazy to me when you find out that ammonia carries 3 times that of compressed hydrogen.
Yeah, it makes me wonder what happened to the scientists coming up with these devices.
Yeah. We could store it as ammonia in the car, right? In a regular tank. Ammonia is not going to start on fire and turn into a big bomb if there's an accident. It's just ammonia. You want to get away from the stink of it real quickly if there's an accident.
It smells bad, but it'll give us 3 times the driving distance, it says.
Yeah, in the same volume. So, we are pro hydrogen and pro ammonia because you can also use it to make your fertilizer, right? They use it to decarbonize food, right? And the future is green. Yeah, that's the WEF, and they're even saying that hydrogen is good. Let's take a look at one more article here on green ammonia, and then we'll probably wrap it up for tonight. We've got so much. So maybe we'll start. I just want to let everybody know we're thinking about having a separate channel for doing this and really making this a thing, sticking with it.
Yeah.
Until we have some results. So here's what you see, you know, application of ammonia. You're gonna see your wind turbines, you're gonna see your solar panels, and here they have a nitrogen unit, ammonia converter. So these right here work on an industrial scale. We don't need all this to power our house.
Well, I could interject. So me as a curious person, where I grew up in Ontario, in southern Ontario, when you go north, you find fields and fields of solar panels and other types of wind generated power stations as well. So they already have these all over the place plugged into your power stations, to your homes now. They have power lines hooked up to these units all throughout southern Ontario and Canada. And I never knew what the tanks and everything that was with all that was. Now that's the breakdown of it, picture by picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll get familiar with it.
I'm pretty sure we've all seen these. We've all seen these stations before in our lives. They're all over the place.
Let's check out their video here. What is green ammonia?
Ammonia is a colorless gas with a strong, pungent odor. Crucial chemical raw materials for modern industrial and agricultural fertilizers. According to the International Ammonia Energy Association, about 200 million tons ammonia is produced per year. However, 98% of the raw materials come from fossil fuels.
That's bad. Why? The raw materials for making ammonia is you need hydrogen. So you need water, and then you need electrolysis. You don't need to use fossil fuels to do the process. You don't.
Regarded as an important big player in carbon dioxide emissions, urgent.
Jared, did you catch that? I just want to.
Yeah, they're linking it to carbon dioxide emissions.
Regarded as
not monoxide. So I want to highlight here carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
The bubbly stuff in fizzy water.
Yeah, but now they're showing smokestacks from steam, but they're saying that this is toxic smoke. Right?
Yeah.
Or is it carbon dioxide, the stuff that we drink in our fizzy water? Which one is it?
I don't know. I think they're capturing the carbon dioxide for our fizzy water.
Yeah, but they're trying to tell us on the other side of their cheek that this is also a super toxic pollutant.
Yeah, that's where it doesn't make sense. That's
this is the
breaking points that we.
This is the error.
Hammer on.
This is an error in their logic. This is nonsense.
As an important big player in carbon dioxide emissions, urgent to find a clean and a sustainable green ammonia production method. Green First, converting renewable energy sources such as solar and wind energy into electricity. Then electrolyze water to produce hydrogen. Meanwhile, part of the electricity is used to separate air to produce nitrogen. Hydrogen and nitrogen undergo chemical synthesis reaction to obtain green ammonia.
Oh,
yeah.
See, this is the interesting part. So this is ammonia, right? What we're seeing right here is the process where if you were like an electrolyzer, if you were trying to make hydrogen, right? You would see a diagram like this. But now all of a sudden they're just going to add the green nitrogen thing over here.
Part of the electricity is used to separate air to produce nitrogen.
So you're going to separate air to create nitrogen. And you're going to interject the nitrogen here.
Hydrogen and nitrogen.
All of a sudden, boom, you have ammonia that comes out of this. All right, so much like we're going to see in the fuel cells, now all of a sudden you just introduce the nitrogen and you got your ammonia out.
Undergo chemical synthesis reaction to obtain green ammonia.
That's all we need to do right there. We got to separate our nitrogen out, add it just the way they did, and we'll be in business with our ammonia.
Yeah.
I just want to point out quickly before we go here some of the breakthroughs. This just came across the plate today.
2,000 kilometers on a single tank? Wow. That is incredible. Are you kidding me? That's the kind of stuff I'm looking for. Volkswagen too, huh? There you go, Elonald.
Volkswagen's kicking your butt.
All right. The new hydrogen car that travels 2,000 kilometers with a single tank. Now, this is going to blow your mind. So they just applied for the registration of a patent for a new hydrogen fuel cell that, in addition to being cheaper than the current ones, will be able, according to its creators, to give cars a range up to 2,000 kilometers without refueling.
Hold on, I got a question. How long does it take to charge this 12,000 kilometer battery?
Usually the refills are in about 3 minutes.
3 minutes? Come on, that's what's going to blow my mind. I guessed it.
Yeah. Now here's where it gets really, really confusing. Listen to this. This news represents a turn in the position that Volkswagen usually shows regarding hydrogen. Like Elon Musk does every time he has the opportunity, the German manufacturer CEO Herbert Diess denied the potential of hydrogen as a power source for electric cars in a tweet published in May 2022.
So he's like Elon saying that hydrogen is ridiculous. It's way too hard to store.
Yeah. Herbert Diess, CEO, said, "It has been shown that the hydrogen car is not the solution to climate problem."
That doesn't even grammatically make sense.
In transport, electrification has taken over. Fake debates are a waste of time. Please listen to the science.
Oh, we've heard that before. And the science is whoever needs the money for the grant. They say whatever they're told.
But still, there's the patent application for this new fuel cell carried out together with this Kraftwerks tube. So they also... Volkswagen does not want to lose the hydrogen train and works outside the public eye in the development of this technology. Right, do you see what's going on? So out of one side of this guy's mouth, the CEO of Volkswagen, he's saying hydrogen's not the way while developing the technology of hydrogen.
Yeah, to go 2,000 kilometers with a single tank. See, this is what we're trying to get to. This is the way that we need to do it. And then we'll create our own fuel to put in our own cars. We don't want to rely or depend on any of these crooked, evil, wicked people.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways that this is coming about. I'll show you one more clip before we go. There's a video. Where is it? Here, check this out. So what they always say, the big downside to electrolysis is that it's so energy intensive. You need all this electricity to do the electrolysis. But the information's coming out, sustainable hydrogen made possible with the new catalyst. So we're going to be going into what these new catalysts are and what they're making possible. There's a lot of headlines, a lot of articles around this stuff. I just want to show you. This is a real simple little video. So this right here is going to show you the amperage that's being applied. And then you're going to see the speed up here. So just watch, they're going to go through and they're going to adjust the amperage. Now the MA is milliamps, right? So just understand that it takes 1,000 milliamps to make 1 amp. And then to put this in perspective, the average household's electrical service is 200 amps. So 1 amp is not a big draw. It's not much, but right here we're talking about milliamps right now. So by having this catalyst in that solution, now we're at 50 milliamps. It's starting to fizz pretty good. 100 milliamps. That's thrown off some bubbles. 200 milliamps. 500 milliamps. Now it's, I mean, that's a lot. 1,000. There's 1 amp. All right. So that's what we want to create, everybody. We want to use the least amount of power necessary, all right, by having the best catalyst possible in the right electrolyte to produce the most amount of hydrogen the quickest. Right? So we're going to be looking at these different catalysts, the different setups, and trying to make the most efficient system that we possibly can to get as much of this hydrogen as we can. And I'm excited. I'm excited about trying to store some hydrogen, brother.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great.
Fun with this.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I've got the thumbnail back on. You can unscreen share as soon as you're ready. But I'm looking forward to moving forward and getting more information. Tonight was just basically step one, part one of getting in our feet wet into the understanding of these different types of storage systems that hydrogen can be found in and how it can be used. So I'm excited to move forward. Just making sure there's a couple of things not quite square on the screen. I've been trying to keep everything centered. So yeah, what are your takeaways, key takeaways? And I guess, are we going to continue this next Sunday? Is that what you planned?
I don't know. I want to do spiritual topics mostly on Sundays, but wanted to get this ball rolling. If people are interested in this topic, I want to see if there's a response. I want to see if people want to participate in this topic with actually trying to build some stuff and get ourselves independent from the grid. If there is some traction there, it'll be something that I want to do more as a side project, and continue to focus on watching for the end times and getting ourselves studied up and prepared for that. That's our main focus, but this will be for me a fun diversionary project.
Yeah, no, it's great. We all need to do this. Moving forward, we're going to have to utilize ways to create power for the devices that we use moving forward anyways, with or without the New World Order. This is obviously something that's going to be carried forward. So I'm looking forward to it. I enjoyed tonight's podcast. Thank you, Jason, for putting together this. And this is not easy, what we're going through here, to come up with the information. There's a lot of tabs and articles and all kinds of information. So I like the way that you've logically filtered it down and presented it. And this is an introduction into the processes that you're going to go about creating energy devices. That's it. And I'm really looking forward to it, brother. I'll let you have the last words. Don't leave. The last song is a good one. It's called Hold My Breath by Slowly Slowly, but I just wanted to let you get the last word in. I just wanted to make sure that I always give the correct representations to the great music. So again, Jason, thank you very much. I'll let you say what you have to say, and then you can lead us out. I'll turn on the end song. Thanks, brother.
Yeah. It's been fun, everybody. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments here. You can email me. We'd like to collaborate on something like this. If something that we said is wrong, misspoken, something like that, let us know. We want to make those corrections. We just want to play with this technology that's out there and see what it can do. So hope you're all excited, and thanks for tuning in. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you soon. The only place you're going to hear this is beyond Flat Earth.
I see the signs. We're coming through without a bone. I'm starving at the best of times. Am I gonna end up alone? I see the pain. I hear your voice, but don't. I recover in a distant place, then tell you I'm home. So if you're not picking up what